It is 9:50, and I would like to call to order the meeting of the Building and Operating Committee of August 21st. But before we begin, please note that this meeting is being recorded. Welcome to everyone joining us here in person, as well as those listening in on the phone. If you would like to provide public comment at today's meeting, we encourage that. And if you've not already done so, please let Thomas in the back of the room know, or Justine on the call-in line know what items you would like to speak on today. Madam Secretary, please begin by calling the roll.
Thank you. I was doing a quick count to see who is still in the after the dust settles. Okay, we're going to start with Director Devlin.
Here.
Giudice.
Here.
Maston.
Here.
Parr.
Present.
Rabbit is absent. Vice Chair Rodoni.
Present.
Chair Garbarino.
Present.
And President Cochran.
Here.
You have a quorum. You are also just the committee of the whole. We also have in the room Directors Hernandez, Hill, and Snyder. So that rounds out your 10.
Thank you, Emerald. Please follow along by referring to the page numbers located at the bottom right-hand corner of your meeting packet. We will begin with agenda item number 3, which is to approve actions relative to award of contract number 2025B091, P25 Phase 2 radio upgrade to Tate Communications. The staff report begins on page 3, and Dave Rivera is here to present the report. Dave, go right ahead.
Good morning, and thank you, Chair Garbarino and members of the committee. I'm going to talk today about the item that was discussed briefly at the June board meeting, but this is another follow-up. And it's a lot of information, so it may sound, I'm going to read it, and then if you have any questions, I'll answer them. So the recommendation for you is the Building and Operating Committee recommends that the Board of Directors approve actions relative to the radio upgrade project as follows. Approve award of contract number 2025B091, P25 Phase 2 radio upgrade to Tate Communications of Houston, Texas, to upgrade the district's radio system for a 10-year term to not exceed $9,622,216 and authorize a contract contingency in the amount of $1,571,034. Summary: the Golden Gate Bridge and Harbor Transportation District. We have our own P25 system for bridge, bus, and ferry operations. The radio system supports 240 portable handheld radios, 280 mobile radios in cars, buses, and ferry, and 5 active dispatch centers. The district uses radios as a primary form of communication for bus dispatch, bus operators, bridge sergeant's office, bridge operations, and maintenance, ferry division mechanics, terminal supervisors, and vessel masters. Needless to say, comms is our lifeline. The current Motorola Vesta system will no longer be eligible for support starting in May of 2026. As recommended by the district's hired radio consultant, Mission Critical Partners, also known as MCP, staff has elected not to replace the radio system in its entirety, but instead upgrade only the components that are in critical need of upgrade and or replacement. A radio system is comprised of the following. Number 1, base stations responsible for receiving and transmitting radio signals and are located at individual sites such as mountaintops and Bridge South Tower. And when I say mountaintops, we had a lot of different places. I'm going to add Mount Tam radio site, Big Rock radio site, Sonoma Mountain radio site, and Ball Peak radio site. The radio core is the central brain of the radio system, and subscriber radios, end user radios, portable and mobile radios. The critical component of the district needs to replace is a radio core. It is at its end of its life and will be out of support by June of 2026. The base stations are still usable and will be supported by Tate. The subscriber radios are also at the end of life and will be replaced as part of the overall project. If the district were to upgrade the radio system with Motorola, all 3 components would need to be replaced. However, since the base stations are Tate equipment and do not require upgrading, it is financially prudent for the district to replace only the core with Tate equipment. This allows the district to consider upgrading other components of the broader radio network, such as a microwave network that connects the base stations to the core and is the backbone of the system. This is what I refer to with the mountain sites. Background. Although the existing radio system is operated on software from and supported by Motorola, the equipment is not Motorola. The radio system came under Motorola support when Motorola acquired Airbus DS Communications in 2018. I know there are some board members here when we went to ACES many years ago, back in, I believe it was 07, 08. President Cochran, you were on that. So the district's radio system consists of an Airbus radio system core, tape base stations, and Kenwood subscriber radios, the mobile ones I referred to. In March of 2023, Motorola informed the district that the current radio system would be out of support of 2024. At staff's request, Motorola provided a budgetary proposal to upgrade to its latest Astro 25 system. The estimated cost to upgrade the core and base stations and replace all mobile and portable radios came in at $12.6 million. Given the substantial cost, staff determined that an independent assessment would be prudent to evaluate whether to proceed with the mobile upgrade or pursue an alternative solution. To ensure that the radio system would be supported while assessment was conducted, Motorola agreed to extend support by 2 years if their district replaced 6 servers that were no longer being supported by the manufacturer. In April of 2024, staff requested and received approval from the board to execute a third amendment to contract 2017-D28 radio system upgrade and enhancement of coverage area with Motorola Solutions to provide the district replacement service and to extend support through May of 2026. Following a request for proposal, the district entered a contract with Mission Critical Partners, MCP, in October 2024 to support the district's assessment of the radio system. The full scope of the contracted work was broken into 2 phases as follows. This is the good part that we've been working through. We broke it down as stated in 2 phases. Phase number 1, review and assess the district's current radio setup, including its integration with other systems, the microwave backhaul, and all associated infrastructure and peripherals. Number 2, deliver a report upon completion of the assessment that presents the options available to the district, including pros and cons for each, and a recommendation on how the district should proceed. Phase 2, support the district to procure, plan, and implement the district's chosen solution. MCP completed its assessment in May of 2025 and recommended that the district pursue the following initiatives in Phase 2. Number 1, as a priority, replace the outdated Airbus core with a tape core, leveraging the existing viable tape base stations. Number 2, replace subscriber radios, mobiles, and portals, which are all out of support. Number 3, update the microwave network and DC power systems. Equipment is outdated and needs replacing. As part of the update, expand the microwave network to enable the deployment of bus dispatch radio consoles at Novato and Santa Rosa, which is something Bus Division has been wanting to do for some time. Number 4, conduct a structural analysis of antenna towers to determine necessary upgrades. And lastly, address issues with radio coverage at specific locations at the bridge, inside the towers, the North Anchorage, and the bunkers. It's a lot of steel, a lot of cement, impacts with radio systems. Items 3 to 5 were not included in Motorola's budgetary proposal and were identified as a result of the assessment conducted by MCP. MCP has broken out the work into a series of logical activities that will extend over a period of 2 to 3 years with an estimated total spend of $12 to $14 million. Staff agrees with the results of the assessment and the proposed recommendations. As part of so this is the recommendation to execute the contract. As part of the assessment, MCP conducted a comparative assessment of the Motorola budgetary proposal and Taint's proposal. If the district does not need to upgrade the base stations, Taint overall cost comes in significantly lower than Motorola's. It is for this reason that staff recommended executing a contract with Taint to upgrade the radio core. The lower cost will allow the project funds of Bridge Division Capital Project number 2421, district-wide radio project, to be used to complete the other initiative recommended by MCP. The contract with Taint includes the following equipment and services. Number 1, system core, network equipment, monitor equipment, and licensing. Number 2, spare equipment. Number 3, professional service for design, implementation, and training. Number 4, 10 years of support and maintenance of the entire radio system. Number 5, refresh of core and base station hardware in year 5 of the support and maintenance agreement. Number 6, site survey to assess antennas and transmissions lines. And lastly, optional services and equipment, which will be executed at staff's discretion. Tate has provided estimated pricing for all options. It should be noted that costs could increase for some of the options depending on when they are executed. Staff will use contract contingency to cover any differences. Recommendation to add a contract contingency. Given the complexity of this project, staff recommends including a contract contingency to account for unforeseen circumstances that may arise during the project and to accommodate potential price increases for optional services and equipment. Contingency is calculated as 20% of the overall contract value, less the guaranteed pricing for support and maintenance for years 2 to 5. Fiscal impact. The fiscal impact of this contract is $7,956,722 in capital expenses, which includes estimated costs for sales tax and freight, and $3,236,528 in operating expenses. Capital project 2421, district-wide radio project totaling $12 million, has sufficient funds to support all capital expenditures as detailed in Table 1 and is fully funded by district funds. The annual maintenance support fee of approximately $322,000 annually will be budgeted accordingly in future operating budgets and bridge division. I will add that this project is also on the cooperative, which means it's already kind of embedded and it's a set price. So with that, I feel free to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dave.
Concludes my presentation.
Thank you for your very comprehensive report. And I see we have a question already from Jim, and I'll call on other colleagues as well. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to be clear. In Table 1, it shows operating expenditures. It says annual fees year 2 to 10 at $2,895,000. I'm assuming that that's for the entire 10-year period, not each year.
No.
Oh, correct. So basically, the current $322,000 that we budget for operating will be about the same.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from my colleagues?
I will add that for those who were involved in ACES, we're phase 1 moving to phase 2. This will be good long-term for the district. There are other agencies in doing the research that actually use this company Tate, such as the County of Los Angeles, Fire Department, and there's other cities, so they're international.
All of that good to know. Thanks. Sabrina, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your report. My question was specific to your page 6, recommendation to add a contract contingency. 20% seems kind of hefty. We typically don't put that level of contingency in a contract. Can you specify some of your concerns as to why that contingency needed to be so high in this case?
Several things. I mean, you could have the tariffs. We don't know the price of future items as they may go up. You know, as we know, we don't know the impact long term of what things may cost in future days. So just looking at those type of things for the products and the material needed.
The other uncertainty is the number of units that we may need with respect to, you know, in the next 10 years, will we be the same size or will we be growing bus and ferry service? You know, those are unknowns at this juncture also.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, that concludes our discussion on item number 3. But before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
We have no public commenters on this item.
Thank you. May I have a motion on agenda item number 3?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show there is no opposition and the motion passes. Thanks again, Dave. We will continue now on to item number 4, which is to approve actions relative to professional services agreement number 2017B15, Golden Gate Bridge Toll Gantry Design Services with AECom. Staff report begins on page 7, and John is here to present the report. John, please begin your report.
Thank you. Morning, Chair Garbarino, members of the committee. I'm before you this morning request that you recommend that the Board of Directors approve the following actions relative to professional services agreement Number 2017 B15 Golden Gate Bridge Toll Gantry Design Services. Authorize execution of the 10th Amendment to PSA 2017 B15 Golden Gate Bridge Toll Gantry Design Services with AECOM, Oakland, California, in the amount not to exceed $782,652.99 for additional design services for a total PSA amount of $2,303,361.64, and establish a 10% contingency for the amendment, the amount of $78,265, with the understanding that there are sufficient funds available in fiscal year 25-26 for each division capital budget for project 1820, which is a toll plaza gantry construction, to finance these actions. So as you know, the district has been collecting tolls using all-electric tolling system for about 12 years, a little over 12 years now. The system has been upgraded with some equipment change outs and replacements over the years, but the existing equipment and system is currently outdated. It's not able to efficiently process the tolling, and it's also not fully compliant with California tolling state standards. The district's toll and revenue department investigated different toll collection systems to determine which system would be best suited for use at the bridge, and in 2017 selected a vendor for that work. Also in 2017, engineering selected consultant AECOM to design the gantry structure onto which the toll equipment would be placed. Since that time, engineering and AECOM and also toll systems have been working together, and we designed a gantry to accommodate that specific system that was would be used by that vendor. So we work collaboratively to develop a specific device attachment and also specific communication and electronics for that system. When we were progressing from the 95 to 100%, the system vendor informed us that their system would not be able to function as desired and as the district requested. And in 2022, the district terminated its contract with that vendor and decided that we would contract with a new vendor. Engineering Tolls Revenue then determined that the toll gantry should be modified, should be stripped of the specifics for that specific vendor, and then basically be a more generic system so that when we do find another vendor, they would be able to mount their equipment in the more generic system. We also determined that the gantry length could be reduced and still accommodate the anticipated traffic volumes going southbound on the bridge. The reduced length would reduce the visual impact, and it would also provide an opportunity for future use of the median area. So the modifications include reducing the gantry length from approximately 134 feet to 110 feet, revising the civil and structural plans to address the revised gantry length and removal of the previous all-electronic toll system equipment mounts, revising electrical and communication plans to address removal of the previous system and making it more generic, modifying pavement delineation, bus stop delineation, preparing a transportation management plan to address the lane configurations and traffic control during construction and the reduced length of the gantry, and finalizing and providing a complete 100% plans, specifications, and estimate for the construction of the project. So AECOM has completed the draft 100% toll gantry design details. So all of these modifications will require additional services beyond the current scope and remaining budget. So staff requested that AECOM provide a cost estimate for this, for the additional scope of services. And they submitted a proposal, and we analyzed it, and then we negotiated a total not to exceed amount of $782,652.99 for the services. We determined that amount is fair and reasonable based on their budgeted hours to perform the work, and also based upon their audited labor and overhead billing rates. AECOM will self-perform the majority of the work, but they do have a consultant who will be assisting with the structural checks and evaluations. And the district manager SPE compliance program has determined that there will be a 7.12% DVE participation for the 10th Amendment. Staff recommends that the Building Operating Committee recommend that the Board of Directors authorize execution of the 10th Amendment to PSA 2017 B15 Golden Gate Bridge Toll Gantry Design Services with AECOM in the not to exceed amount of $782,652.99. Compensate AECOM for these additional services. It's also recommended that the contingency for the amendment of 10%, $78,265 be established. And fiscal impact, as I mentioned, the project is in the budget, and we looked at what the reductions would be on the construction side and looked at the task amount for the construction. So we're looking to reallocate money from that budget line item to the design services and not increase the budget at this time. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John, for your report. Yes, Bert, go ahead.
Curiosity, will this be subject to tariffs outside of All American?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I said, is any of this subject to tariffs?
Oh, is any of it subject to tariffs? No.
Okay.
No. But, we are, the contract is going to have, it'll be held by America except for the electronics. So we don't anticipate that all electronic tolls is a separate amount. This is for the construction of the gantry, so we don't anticipate tariffs to the extent that American prices are going to go up because of tariffs.
Just a general and specific. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Barb.
Just a quick question. What if we didn't do all the modifications that this new system wants, like shortening the gantry? I mean, it's been pretty good the way it is, and we're not flush in money. What's the downside of just leaving it the way it is?
So the existing
putting new things on.
The existing toll plaza, this would be downstream of the existing toll plaza, would span across the roadway. The existing toll plaza gets hit periodically by motorists. While the toll plaza has not changed in decades, motorist behavior has. And so we have to have workers go out into the lanes to do repairs as recently as yesterday because so that's why we think that constructing a gantry is a vital step. The toll equipment will be up in the air. It'll be able to be maintained without workers being out in the roadway as they are today. And it would open future possibilities for a discussion regarding the toll plaza.
Thank you.
I won't listen to that last one.
Anyone else? No? Thank you. That concludes discussion on item number 4. But before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
We have no speakers on this item as well.
Thank you. May I have a motion on agenda item number 4?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Let the record show that there's no opposition and the motion passes. We will continue now on to item number 5, which is a presentation on the Golden Gate Bridge underwater inspection. The presentation slides, which include a video, can be viewed on the district's website. Begins on page 11 of the packet, and John will walk us through the presentation. John, go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to present one of the projects that we recently completed and the findings.
This is our favorite.
Yeah.
Do I have to do anything, or?
Do we have a movie?
Okay.
There you go.
I went pretty too far. Okay, so yes, good morning. This morning I'd like to present the Golden Gate Bridge underwater inspection. So a little background, Title 23, Highway Code of Federal Regulations, Part 650, Subpart C, National Bridge Inspection Standards, sets the national standard for safety inspection and evaluation of all highway bridges. Golden Gate Bridge was part of the National Highway System, so we're subject to those inspections and regulations. So in accordance with 23 CFR 650 Part C, inspections of the underwater portions of bridge structures and surrounding channels are required every 60 months, every 5 years. We last did our inspection in 2019. There are provisions to receive a waiver for up to 6 years if your previous findings show that there is no major deficiencies and no indications of scour, which is what is at the Golden Gate Bridge. So we're doing our cycle every 72 months. So in January of 2025, the Board of Directors actually authorized execution of a professional service agreement with Consor North America to actually perform the underwater inspection services. And they began that work in March of this year. Why are underwater inspection required? Well, in 1987, there was a collapse of the structure in New York due to scour. And that structure collapsed. It had a major impact on the transportation route in New York, but it also 10 people died during that collapse. So after that time, new regulations were established so that at least every 5 years, more frequently on susceptible bridges, underwater inspections need to be performed. So as noted, over 80% of the bridges in the U.S. have some sort of waterway that they go over, and scour is one of the main causes of undermining and collapse of bridge structures. Scour is not observed at all at the Golden Gate Bridge. I highlight that right away. So what is scour? So here is the creek and structure in New York. There was a really, really big rain event that occurred. The creek elevation rose. It had a big current going through there, and the pier undermined and the bridge collapsed. And it happened within a matter of seconds. There was no real warning when it did collapse. So you can see on the highlight on the right side, current comes down, it hits the pier structure, the water is turbulent, and it'll start chewing away at the underlying material around the foundation. So scour will occur at that location. Depending upon the material, scour is more of a problem or not. At Golden Gate Bridge, we have very, very high current also. You can get up to about 6 knots, which is about 7 miles per hour current. We have over 2 million gallons per second of water, 2 million cubic feet of water every second rushing through the Golden Gate. So there's a lot of volume at a very high speed. So it's a potential area where scour could occur. But fortunately for us, those who built the bridge before us did a really great job. And the underlying material is also very, very good. So here shows the South Tower Pier and Fender. And you can see there that there's divers back in the 1930s who actually went down and about 80 feet of water at this location, but they actually embedded both the fender and the pier itself at about 100 feet below the water line. And that's rock down there. Very, very good material. So it's not in a sandy or poor foundation structure. So here's just some fun facts and figures about the fender and the pier itself. The fender is a football field size, very, very large, over 100,000 cubic yards of concrete, 40-foot maximum thickness at the base of the fender. And then the fender protects the pier itself also. So the pier also has 23,500 cubic yards of concrete. And as you can see there, it's about 140 feet long, 66 feet wide, and it's about 110 feet below water. This is at the south side. Similarly, at the north side, a cofferdam was installed around the location of the pier. It was also constructed in the rock. Rock had to be blasted away. There's still an outcropping just to the south side that you can see in the lower photo, the lower left photo. That's a rock outcropping. So again, it's keyed into the bedrock, and it's similar overall dimension. So it's very, very heavy structures, plus you have the towers pushing down on it, plus you're on really good material. So scour potential is small, but there's still a current in there, and there's still potential for corrosion and other deterioration of the concrete. So that's why we do the underwater inspections, and the scope is a 3-part scope. So first there's sonar scanning and imaging. This is done to identify areas of concern. So the structure is very large, so this can identify areas where the divers can go down and investigate to see what was imaged during that sonar scanning and imaging. Once that is completed, then a whole visual assessment has to be done of the entire underwater portion of the concrete structure. So that's where divers go down. They have to be within arm's reach. They feel around, they look around to see if they see anything obvious. They also check for scour, and they also look at what the imaging determined to investigate those areas of concern. And then there are certain areas that are clean, and then a more in-depth inspection can be performed. Because you'll see there's marine growth, there's other debris, so they actually clean the surface and get real close, just on not the entire perimeter, but a smaller area. So what does sonar scanning do? It obtains a bathymetry of the bottom of the area around the piers, and then the high-resolution sonar surveying with LiDAR, that there can actually hone in on any deficiencies that are present at the location. And this is how they do it. They have a multi-beam boat, and they have a LiDAR boat. And they basically have equipment that they drop off the side, and they traverse the vessel back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and around the structure itself. That creates a whole bunch of data points, and then the data points are processed. From that, they can tell what the depth is, what the underlying material looks like, and they could also hone in on any deficiencies that they may find.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can I just ask a question about page 17? So you'd like to have a little more explanation on the detail of some of these images.
17?
17 of the report, of the slides.
Okay.
The UW inspection scope of work. On step 1, sonar scanning and imaging, I'm used to looking at color-coded images, and when it gets red, that means danger. So can you explain the sonar coloring on that? And also on the South Tower cold joint, is that a welded joint? Is that mortar? What is that joint that looks so corroded in the first image and then clean in the second?
So a cold joint, I'll go back a couple of slides here so I would show you a cold joint. It's kind of hard to see here, but if you zoom in, slide 15, so you can't, or they did not, and it is very difficult to do a one continuous concrete pour. So what they do is they bring out material up to a certain elevation, and you pour the concrete, and then you come back another day and you pour concrete again. So that's called a cold joint. So it's not where you're continuously vibrating continuously through the whole concrete foundation. So there's an actual hard point, stop point, and where that cold joint is, it's just not as since it's not monolithic all the way through, you have a crack basically. And so at that crack, over time, you could get some separations and deterioration. So that's what a cold joint is, and we know where the cold joint is located, so we'll go down to that point and look at that cold joint to see how far you could penetrate inside of that cold joint to see, is it 6 inches, is it 20 inches, or, this is 40-foot thick concrete, so a 4-inch thick or a 4-inch penetration is not anything substantial on such a large structure.
Okay.
So that's what a cold joint is.
So it's finished concrete that's allowed to cure before new concrete is poured on top.
Correct.
With no substrate, no insulating substrate between the two sections. Okay, thank you.
So if you ever see when they pour concrete on structures, there's a concrete truck, they pump the concrete in there, and then there's a whole bunch of personnel around with vibrator.
Yeah.
And so they vibrate it through the layers of concrete, so it becomes a monolithic floor.
Got it. Thank you. And there's nothing to worry about with the red imaging on the sonar.
It's just, they use different colors just to show the different depths.
Okay.
And for that particular image, they were using red.
Thank you for that explanation. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And similarly on this one here, so they just call these heat maps. So the red is the shallower area. As you can see, it gets to the blue. So in the middle of the channel, it's over 300 feet. And then as you get closer to the piers, the south pier is about 80 feet water to the base. And as you get closer and closer to the north pier, it's about 10 feet out water to the underlying material, to the rock surface. So I think that's what it says there. Yeah, there it says North Tower is 0 to 10 feet, and the south water depth is 50 to 80 feet. And this is the heat map all the way across the strait. So then they do the whole channel, the strait, and then they do some up close around the piers themselves. And in our case, we also go inside the moat. So the red is because it's shallower, and it said that it gets bluer and bluer as it gets deeper. And what's interesting on this one here is in 2019, we did very, very similar inspection. And at the top of the sonar scanning over here, you can see there's a line right here. It goes from the base of the fender toward channel. So that's a line where they actually looked at the depth of the underlying surface. So right over here is the face of the fender. And you can see since 2019, there's an elevation change of about 0.6 feet. You got a little deeper. And then as you go out, it's pretty close. The two lines are right on top of each other. And then when you get further away, 76 feet away, there's about a 1 foot elevation. So you would anticipate with the tide going through every day, material is going to move around. But it is pretty close for 100 feet deep, 7 miles per hour, all that material going through. So the underlying material, the underlying foundation is pretty stable. So we'll continue doing this to track what the ground surface looks like out there. On the north side, we didn't have that big of a concern. The underlying material is rock 10 feet down. There's a big shelf there, and that hasn't changed much at all. So that's what these two images show. So then the LiDAR we used to look at deficiencies that are found on the outside of the fender of the South Tower. So you can see here the level of detail that the LiDAR and sonar scanning can do. At this one over here, about 23 foot long indication, that's about 0.4 feet. And up on top, there's a similar indication. And this area this is about a 40 foot by 40 foot area on the outside of the fender itself. The fender wasn't built, to hold a bridge, but the fender is in pretty good condition. And one indication is a pipe. They have pipes that were part of the scaffolding of that actual fender system. So when they built that, they left a lot of the formwork in place. They did not remove it. So that's what all of these indications showed up. So you have some on the outside, but primarily on the inside. And I also wanted to note here that this was the indication. You can see it's Golden Gate Bridge. This was done in 2019. These are other indicators of what the location was, what was found. Our assessment is exactly the same. Nothing has changed since 2019. So that's a good indication. So outside, the fender was analyzed. Again, a bunch of debris, primarily from the original construction, which was not removed, scaffolding. And then a whole bunch of stuff on the inside. So we do this on the inside. We do it more in-depth on the inside because we actually have to dive down there. It's about 16 feet of water. It's not very clear. You have divers with a tentacle that is their air mechanism and also their communications. And so you don't want to get tangled up in scaffolding. So they go and find this stuff and map it very closely so that when they're doing the diving, the diver is safe and is not going to get hooked up on anything. So that's why a lot of work was done inside. And then after all of that is done, we actually do the level 1 and level 2 diving. So they love going out to the South Tower because you're in a moat, it's a bathtub. You jump on in. They have their little setup there. They put a table and their computers. Here's the diver right here getting ready to go in, and the tenders. And this is all this rope right here has both their air and their communication. So they're in constant communication. They also have a camera that's always on, so people outside can see what's occurring inside. Like I said, they'll go in and first they'll do a level 1, which is they'll look at the entire perimeter without any cleaning. And then once the level 1 is done, they actually go down and clean the surface at certain locations, and they do a more up-close investigation. At the North Tower, they usually wait for a low tide. So they look at everything above water visually, and then it limits the amount of diving you have to do during a low tide to get that last portion between the water and the ground surface.
Question?
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. So how do they clean?
How they clean?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you.
Really?
Okay.
So here's the level 2 inspection. As I mentioned, we look at different areas each time we do an inspection to try and get as much of that area investigated and cleaned as possible. So we basically go mark out areas and they go down and we'll clean this. This is approximately 1,000 square foot of marine growth was removed with level 2 inspection. Vertical strips and horizontal strips. The horizontal strip was done at that cold joint location to see how it's holding up over time. So we have to do this. Show you the diagram. Okay, so there they are going down. You see he has basically a carpenter's rule in his hand. And this is at the South Tower on the south face. So he's just going down. They're measuring where he's at. You can see all the marine growth going down there. Okay, whoops.
There's
I want to do that. To stop it because we're showing different locations. Okay, here.
Yeah, I won't play on mine.
So again, this is the South Tower on the south face. And this is the South Tower at the south half. And this is that cold joint. So you see that joint right there? Mm-hmm. And he's putting in the carpenter's rule to see how far it breaks in. So this joint goes all the way around. It's about elevation -10 at the South Tower. So we'll go along there and penetrate with that. Just see how far it goes in. There's a lot of cover on the reinforcing steel. So again, as long as this doesn't grow, it's not a concern. And then this here is a marine growth, and you can see there, it's got a trowel. So they go underwater with this trowel, and they scrape the marine growth off.
Well, that's not very sophisticated.
For as much as we're paying. But
then once they're done with that, then they'll go up and they'll do the. Okay, so I'll move on. So what were the findings? The south tower and fender, satisfactory condition. Again, there's that cold joint about -10. There's also some hairline cracking and some other cracks with a small spall that was found in the splash zone inside. At the north tower,
Is satisfactory condition what we're looking for?
that's a satisfactory condition. So
That's the best they get?
that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't want to get a C and not know it. Yeah. Didn't want to get it.
So on the north tower, we've been monitoring this northwest space over here, which is the most exposed corner. There's been some erosion to the concrete, and there's some reinforcement steel that's exposed there. So we've been monitoring that for about at least 12 years now, maybe longer than that, 15 years now. It hasn't grown at all, so we just continue to monitor that surface. But then on the face over here, on the south face, there's beginning to get a little more spalling that's occurring in the splash zone. So we're going to investigate that and look into potential ways of correcting that. So no critical or major issues were found. There is no scour, which was great. Overall rating satisfactory. It's very, very similar to what we found in 2019. We're full compliance with all federal and state regulations. So these are the work recommendations. Again, clean and seal cracks using an epoxy suitable for marine environments. At the south tower pier and the fender, there's some spalling that's occurring there. And at the north tower pier, there's also some spalling, which was shown. With that, thank you for letting me present. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Before we start on questions, Amaret wanted me to ask the difference between bathymetry and bathymetry.
Symmetry, did I make a typo?
No, I'm sure there's a scientific pathway to becoming, what was it, satisfactory? Perfect. Any other questions? Yes.
Will any of this be addressed with the seismic retrofit?
No.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, John, very, very much. That concludes discussion on item number 5. And before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
We have no speakers on this item.
No action is required for item number 5. Yeah. There's no vote.
We don't vote.
Yes. We will continue on to item number 6, which is going to be stimulating as well. The informational monthly report from the Board of Appointees on the Sonoma Marin Area Rail Transit Board. And I will start off by thanking Barb for telling me to say very little, because we have a very little report. School has started, so as you all know, probably
Don't over talk, I think was what we talked about.
that's what she's telling me. Yes. So just a couple of points. School has started. I'm sure you've all recognized that when you get up in the morning. Then one, I think the highlight is that 57% increase over 2019 in ridership, which resulted in, for the fiscal year 24-25, 1,123,686 riders, and tell that to anyone who may say smart, right? We also covered the mascot hearing schedule and talked just a bit about freight. And that's it. And Barb, I think you've already told me you don't have anything else.
I think that's it. Thank you.
There you go. It's all good.
It was a short meeting. Next month is going to be a little bit longer because we have our own hearing, but this week it's short.
Great. Any questions about our presentation? That concludes our discussion then on item number 6. But before we move on, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item?
We have no speakers for this item.
And there is also no action for item number 6. So we'll continue on to item number 7, which is the status report on engineering products that we projects that begins on page 37. John, go ahead.
Thank you. My written report is before you. There's a few items I'd always like to bring to your attention. Number one is work is still progressing at the East Berth at the San Francisco Ferry Terminal, both offsite at the offsite facility where they're doing steel repairs on the berth itself, and also on-site they're working on the concrete structure doing repairs there. Similarly, at the Larkspur Ferry Terminal, berth 1 is out of service. Contractor is under investigation of the facility. The hydraulic cylinders are just about completed, so work is progressing well there. Unfortunately, we're still experiencing delays on delivery of electrical equipment on both the San Rafael bus employee parking lot, the chargers themselves. We're experiencing a delay on receiving those, but they're anticipated to come sometime in September now. And also on the bridge repair project, we're still waiting for a couple pieces of equipment before we start doing the repair work on that project. And then I did want to mention that for the South Toledo Landside Improvement Project, where we have pass-through grant, they have completed that project, and on September 5th at 8:30, they're having a little ceremony, and wanted to notify everyone of that. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on my report.
Any questions, anyone? No, thank you, John, for your report. There's no action, as I mentioned, associated with item number 7. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item or address the committee under this item, or number 8? Public comment.
We have no speakers under item 7 or 8.
Okay, thank you. With that, we've reached the end of the agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Hello.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Hearing no objections, this concludes the meeting of the Building and Operating Committee. Thank you, colleagues. The time is 10:53.